Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Contact Lust, where we carry on the Pyra pre-show. I'm Joker, and today my co-host is none other than the Dean Stealer.
Hey!
We have some wonderful guests in the form of John
Howdy, howdy.
and Jesper
Oh,
from Teams USA and Sweden, respectively. Now, before we begin, a massive thank you to our sponsors, the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani, as well as our community of Patreons. Right, so obviously we'll be talking about Pyra, but before we begin, we've been hyping up this event for like the past 2 weeks. This is the third week. So, Dino, how do you feel about being retired or semi-retired now that such an event is just around the corner and the Dutch team is also going to be there?
I'm very much looking forward to enjoy the spectacle from the sidelines, to be honest. I've been only once to Pyra. I know it's an amazing event with even more amazing players, but I also know it's a lot of hard work. So yeah, I'm very looking forward to seeing the spectacle from a different point of view this time. Yeah,
Okay, so no regrets so
not
far.
yet, not yet, but we're still a week out, so who knows?
A little bit of FOMO start to kick in. Right.
Yeah.
John, Team USA is going to be the defending champions of Pyra. So, how do you feel about the event? What does the US team want to achieve, and why travel to a very small town in a hard to reach area of a Central European country for the second year in a row?
Yeah, I myself won't be there, but I'm happy that Team USA gets to go again. Of course, since we won last year, we're assuming it will be just as easy this time around. Um, and so,
Straight away.
really, we're looking to just get some good practice out of it, of course, for the big event. Clearly, last year it wasn't challenging enough to properly prepare us for WTC, so we're hoping the competition will be a little stiffer this time, and we're really excited, all jokes aside, so that we can send some new members of Team USA as well as some veterans to really introduce them to what competitive Teams Warhammer is like, because unfortunately this is not as easy as I would like to make it sound. And so letting some people see what it's like when it's not on TTS is really important to building our team and our community.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you do have all the rights to be talking about it this way. You did win it pretty easy last year, so hopefully everyone puts more of a challenge this time around for you guys.
I recall 2 draws last year. I don't think it was as easy as as we'd like it to be.
Right, Jesper, what about Team Sweden? I think you're debuting at the Pyra series, so anything you're looking forward to, especially that the lineup is probably the strongest we've ever had so far.
you mean from Sweden or?
No, I mean at the event, so
Oh, I see.
the
Yeah.
teams attending.
Yeah, I don't really have like any relation to Pyra apart from like following the results from the sidelines before. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I've been to Poland once to Gdansk for a bachelor's party, and that was very enjoyable. So I hope however you pronounce this town is going to be the same. So yeah, really looking forward to it. The venue looks really nice, and yeah, and just as John said, we're looking forward to the practice mainly. We choose to go with. I mean, we have 5 players finalized for a roster already, and all of them chose to join us. And then we have some prospects coming as well. So we're trying to maximize the opportunity to get their live practice, so to speak.
So you are bringing the creme de la creme of what you've assembled so far, at least.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, if anyone here would be able to pronounce Międzyrzecz, that's probably as Polish as it gets, then beers on me. If anyone wants to try, go ahead. Yeah, and the event does have a bit of a vibe of a bachelor party, but you'll have to experience it next week. Right, well, moving on, John, back to you. So speaking of defending a title, Team USA is often regarded as the favorite whenever they're attending an event. WTC included. So does this like top dog position add any extra pressure on the team, or have you not ever thought about it this way?
I don't really think of it that way. As far as I'm concerned, Team USA has never won while I was a part of it for WTC, and so I never think of us as, obviously we're a tier one nation, we're in the conversation, but I never think of us as a favorite for the WTC by any stretch of the imagination. To me, the favorite is last year's champion, and therefore we have not earned that yet. I don't actually think it adds that much pressure for us. Once the new generation of American players got to WTC back in 22 in the break after COVID, we very quickly realized that talent is all around the world, and so we don't see ourselves as a favorite. There is still pressure, of course, because we would like to be, but we don't see ourselves as the favorite any year until the year after we finally take home gold.
Okay, that's a very politically correct answer.
Absolutely.
So, Jesper, Team Sweden, on the other hand, doesn't always get the credit it deserves. At least that's what I feel like. You've got subsequent fourth place finishes at the WTC last year and the year before, whilst there was, I recall, some poll betting on which seed one team will take the win, I think 2 years ago, and you got 0 votes. So
Whoops.
do you ever feel like the underdogs, or do you get any extra motivation to prove onlookers wrong, or anything
Yeah,
of that sort?
absolutely. I mean, I hate it, so I love it because it's very motivating for me, at least, to prove people wrong. So that's I think that's a driving factor. And on the other hand, I mean, we only finished fourth twice, so there's no podium finish at all. So perhaps it's adequate. I don't know, but I would love to prove you wrong. Yeah, that's where we are simply. And I mean, if people keep ignoring our list in preparations, then that's great for me.
Perfect.
So keep going.
If you stop taking Drukari, we'll read your lists.
I mean, we've already locked in, IKCK for the third time in a row. So
Oh, good stuff. Right, and yeah, speaking of weird choices for team composition, what do you think of the metagame right now? Are there a lot of factions viable for an 8v8? Any volunteers to start us off, or should we go the usual way? John, you want to take it?
I'll kick us off. Yeah, I think that because there's so much upheaval in the game with the recent Grot misdetachments and then them announcing that there's a ton of codexes coming, I think it's a lot easier to get lost in the weeds when you're trying to pick an 8, because I think that, say, the 12th or the 16th army is a lot closer to viable than normal. I know, like, a year ago, 2 years ago, the 12th army in the game was, to us, not even close and just a laughable choice. Like, there weren't 12 armies that we were choosing between. So I think that makes it a little bit harder, because I still think that there are wrong choices, but now there are more wrong choices that look like they're right. Things like Imperial or Chaos Knights, or for us, I think Slanesh Demons are bad armies that are wearing a good mask.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's a little more difficult to navigate now. And then the way that the detachments have changed as 10th edition has broken out, it takes more work, because it was easier when there was only one detachment to find out whether or not an army was good. And you still have to do all the work, but now there's 6 different ways to do it, and so you have to test everything from Green Tide to Tactical Brigade before you can eliminate orcs as one of your top 8, or say that they are going to be one of your top 8.
Okay, that's a very interesting answer. Dino, do you want to comment?
No, not really. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with specific Slanesh, but with how 10th edition now is, it's just so much more work, and there isn't really a small top. It's like a very wide top, followed closely by a very wide midsection. I don't see a lot of big S-tier armies that are so far away from the west that it's going to be hard to pick an 8. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, I think the top is quite defined. To be honest, I think there's at least 3 armies that I'm quite sure that almost everyone is gonna have, and where like the main focus of the preparation is gonna be in like solving that type of meta. But on the other hand, I agree that like the 7th and the 8th army, that's gonna vary quite a bit. I'm sure. I mean, we're still dealing with the same information, so I would assume that a lot of teams are gonna find the same conclusions. I mean, I don't know where we'll land on Slaanesh Demons, but they're quite, mid-table bully vibes, in my opinion. Yeah, so I'm a little bit in between on that opinion.
Yeah. I think where it's gonna land is that it's gonna leave a lot more room for people to take their pet armies,
Yeah.
where you have those fringe players where everyone has one guy on their team who only plays Leagues of Votan because he's 5'2" and takes it personally, and so I think there's more room for those types of armies, those like faction specialists, to, like try to argue their way to be in the top 8. Whereas before you would just tell that person to, like, sorry, this isn't your year, you're not in the top 8 army, but you can argue more between the 7 and 12 spots. There's more argument than before, I think.
Okay, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Lists are due on Monday, so on Tuesday there will be a whole reveal along with the pod draw, so to call it. That will be happening on this channel as well on Contact Lost, so make sure you tune in then. Now back to the topic at hand. John, why don't you tell us a little bit about the team selection process for this year? How many applicants you have, how are you running it, and at what point in the process are you, and does Pyra affect it in any way?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we have done for Team USA for the past 2 years now is we essentially have our team divided into returning starters and an academy. And each year we host applications for our academy around October, and then we kind of finalize it in, October, November. And so we have taken from 40 applicants and plus last year's academy, and we have selected a 16-person academy now. And so with a 16-person academy, those 16 members of the team are competing for 3 or 4 starting spots. And then we have last year's starting 8, minus a few people who have either stepped away from the team or accepted coaching roles. Those are competing for 4 slots. So this absolutely is going to, take into account Pyra as well. Some different members of the team are headed to home nation because we have so many applicants. We take a large academy pool that is, frankly, as much as they're all lovely, it's a lot of people to try to work with. But because the United States has such a large community, we feel like we can't take a small pool. Otherwise, we're not going to know what we're missing. Even with a 16-person academy, there are good players that get left out. But we're taking into account home nations, Pyra, all of the scrimmages we do, both internal and external, and then at the end of April, beginning of May, we're going to choose a starting 8. We're going to take 4 returning starters. We're going to take 3 from the academy. And then those 7 players are going to be free to pick any 8th person on the team that they want. So either an academy or a returning starter. But those 7 will have a bit of a say in that, as well, of course, as our captains and coaches. So for now, we're letting the academy, people get comfortable, get their feet wet. But seeing how they actually play in Europe against European competitors is something that's really important. So this is a great opportunity for those players to show that they belong on the August 8, not just on the Pirate 8. And so, we put a little bit of pressure on them, but with love, of course. But this is the best way to find out if they've got the stuff.
Definitely trial by fire.
John, are you going to be the last pick, or are you part of the first pick of the returning starters as captain?
I can be the last pick. So the 7, by default, I'm a non-playing captain, but once we have 7 starters selected, they can pick anyone on the team, including myself, to be the 8th player.
Okay.
So traditionally, we have had the 8th spot go to the captain, but that won't be my choice. That'll be on the 7 starters.
Okay, cool, clear.
Okay, good to know. Right, Jesper, what about you guys? Where are you? Where have you started?
Yeah,
How have you
so
started?
I guess it sort of comes into a later question as well, but we made quite a lot of changes coming to this year. So we kind of saw the need to like professionalize our organization quite a bit. So we did have a formal organization last year, but now we're sort of we elected a team uh, captain, so to speak, and also a head manager of the organization, and those together like are meant to choose the captain, and then we sort of put together a team. So we have two coaches, two like team captains, me and Jonathan, and then we also have the head of organization. We are the foundation for the team coming into this year, and we sort of made had an election process where we asked for votes from the former players to get the mandate to carry this through, basically. But one of the things that we wanted was quite a bit of freedom. Like before, the top three players on the ranking were automatically qualified into the Swedish team, but now we left that basically. So the only real limitation that we have is that we need to pick all our players come at the end of May. But there's already so much separation. Also, Sweden is we're a very small country with 10.5 million people, so we don't have that. It's a strength and a weakness that we don't have that many players to pick from. So we have already selected 5 players for our team, basically, that are going to play for our team, and now we're trying to develop them as much as possible, and also try to pick the remaining 3. We have a system very similar to the academy where we started out with 19 players that are sort of in the running for the WTC spots, and 3 of them are of course joining us for Pyra.
Nice.
Okay. Right, understood. So, John, we have to ask what it's like succeeding Sean Naden, who's been a massive figure in the community, right? And then is it much of a burden now being the captain of the USA team? Are you trying to do things differently, or has it been a smooth transition? How did it come to be in the first place? Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's with Sean. Obviously, Sean has been captain of Team USA for many, many years. Sean was the captain the only year that we were able to bring home gold. So, he obviously has a very respected place within the history of the team because we all love Sean. Sean is the captain that brought all of us on. Every current member of the team has, other than Andrew Gagno, a former captain who we brought back, out of stasis to play for us, has only known Sean as a captain. But I I'm pretty comfortable just trying to do it my way. I have a different leadership style from Sean. I'm a little more talkative, and I don't have quite as big shoes, so they're hard to fill because I'm not 6'6" or whatever made up number Sean is. um, but I think it's been interesting. Honestly, I more want to hear what the other people on the team who have had to put up with my shit have to say. But I've been trying to do it my way. I haven't tried to, beat my head against the wall thinking what would Sean do here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite comfortable with the fact that I'm going to do it differently. But since Sean had been doing it for a while, last year when we were I was vice captain, Anthony was vice captain with me. There definitely was an understanding that Sean was on a bit of a timer, and when we were ready, he was going to step away. So I ran for captain this year, but Sean did not run against me. When I put my name in the hat, Sean took it as his cue, and
Mm-hmm.
so he stepped away from the team to give me a bit of space to do my own thing. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't say that it's been a particularly hard transition. It's a lot of work, so I would say it's difficult, but the transition was natural because I was working with Sean the past 3 years. So a lot of the systems that we have in place, Sean and I and Anthony all wrote together. So
Mm-hmm.
luckily, there were enough shared ideas that I didn't have to reinvent the wheel when I took charge.
When you took charge, like you said, most of the things were already talked over with Anthony and Sean. Did you have an idea of this year you want to add something specific of something from your own idea of what could benefit the team?
Yeah, 100%. The thing that I most wanted to change for the team, honestly, was to kind of change the attitude of Team USA a little bit and a little bit of our internal culture. Um, Joker mentioned pressure earlier. I'm not really worried about the external pressure of the USA has to win because we're back-to-back world champs and we beat you all to the moon. But there's a lot of internal pressure because how could we, lose to someone that we beat to the moon? And so it's last year particular, I think it kind of came to the head where a lot of the team was, we felt that we had a really strong roster and then we did not perform as well as we wanted to. And so there's a little bit of looking in and saying, okay, we thought we had our best team ever, but we just had our worst performance since COVID. And that stings a little bit. I think in my first two WTCs we lost one round total, and then last year we lost two. And so that's to us that was a sign that we were doing things wrong. So I think that's it's trying to find the combination of in the current WTC metagame of everyone is trying harder than before. I'm actually extremely confident that I could take this year's squad and win the 22 tournament very easily. But I don't think, because we only have to beat Australians, but I don't think that, we're necessarily ready to win in 25 yet because everyone has been trying harder and harder and harder each year. And what I think is really important with that is making sure that we avoid the burnout of, half of a couple members of Team USA like myself are professional with Warhammer, and it's easy to burn out, and you have to make sure that you're enjoying it because as soon as it becomes too work-like, you lose the passion for it. And if you lose the passion, I don't think you can compete with a very passionate Team France that beat us for gold.
Yeah, smart, definitely.
Okay, and Jesper, what about you? How did you get into the captain role, and what are you guys, or you personally, doing for the team? What are you trying to implement?
Yeah, so a bit like I alluded to earlier, I think, to lay the groundwork, we were quite, I think 2023, we were kind of happy with ending up in fourth place. That was around our expectation. 2024, we were extremely disappointed with fourth place. So I think I just had to choose, do I go forward or just drop this thing? So all this thing that I talked about, our reformation of the organization, happened within a week after WTC. So me and the group that I worked with, we put together a proposal for this change, and we sought a mandate for it and had a vote with the team, and this was decided to try for. So and then we put forward me as a playing captain, and also we have a bit of a manager structure that doesn't really fit into the WTC one. So for example, Sam is the WTC captain for us, and that's going to be everything to take away that load from us, the people who are supposed to be playing, for example, so we can focus only on the game. And I think the point about burnout is extremely valid. To be honest, we've passed the line for what is reasonable for a hobby. But as well, if you treat it like a job, it's not going to work either. So everything you can do to make it manageable is very, very important. But I try to lead by example, I think, mainly, to be honest. I try to address the problems that I see in a constructive way, so to speak. It really helps that the head of our organization, he's a very experienced CEO, so he helps us a lot with these tougher decisions where he always has a lot of experience that we can lean into.
Jesper, you are co-captain with Jonathan, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys made a clear distinction of who takes on what roles in the team? Do you have specific assignments? And does Jonathan have specific assignments?
Like some smaller things such as scheduling
Yeah.
our screens, for example, that's something we have organized between us. But otherwise, I mean, we almost always have the same view on everything. To be honest, always. Like we've never had to have a vote or anything. Like to us, I think the decisions are almost always crystal clear, like the path forward. So it's really enjoyable to work together. To be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine. Never experienced something like that.
Yeah, it is weird when you think about, because we're very, very different as persons. But yeah, it's a good fit.
Nice.
A perfect bromance. And yeah, I remember after WTC last year, it was like my first day back at work, so a couple of days later, and I see Team Sweden already publishing people's like captain this, manager that. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
In Poland, it's like everyone forgets there's this WTC thing for like at least a month. No one wants to pick it up and be the
Really?
selector or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, so it was very different, but yeah, you could definitely see the motivation and the drive to hit that podium at least
Yeah, for sure.
the next year. So, guys, what about do you have a team to beat at Pyra, or just want to win the whole event?
France.
John, you've been throwing some shade already, so okay, France.
Everyone there, truthfully. My only regret is that we probably can't beat Poland A and B at the same time. I mean, if we brought America A and B, obviously, but we were only sending one. America B, to be clear. We're only sending America B.
Okay.
That's my
Did we
excuse in case we lose, is that we sent Anthony.
did we already talk about who's on the team for Pyro this year? For USA and for Sweden, do we know who you guys are bringing?
We didn't
I
ask
know.
for any names, but yeah, guys, if you want to introduce the team, go ahead.
Absolutely. I can.
You want to lead us up, Jesper, so I can
Yeah,
make sure
sure,
I don't
sure.
embarrass myself?
Yeah, yeah. I brought the list forward to be sure. No, so we went with all our the selected players that are already on the roster. So that's me and Jonathan, and then Björn Eriksson, who played IK for us last year. Joe Larson, who played Demons for us last year, the former Magic Pro. And then Andreas Holm, who played for us in 2023, but then found out what happens if you, have what happens? Yeah, how should I say this? Somehow he got his girlfriend pregnant, so he had to like tap
Oh
out.
no!
Oh yeah,
Oh
unplanned.
no!
But
Such a
now he's
mistake.
back. He got his shit together. He learned about all this biology thing, and he's back on track. So yeah, it's very promising. So all these players have been to WTC before, and they're quite experienced and very good with pressure. So that's the core of the team, so to speak. And then we have Axel Rydén, who's a prospect for us for now, who is an Elder enjoyer mainly. He played Drukari for us last year and Elder the year before. We'll see what he brings this time. And then we have Olof Svensson, who is also, I believe he's been on the team, I think, 10 times in a row or something like that. He's very, very experienced. Brings some more mature outlooks into life, so to speak. And the last one is Emil Söderholm, who is an entirely new but very promising prospect that we're bringing. He's a former like MMA competitor, runs his own gym, and is also like a programmer and everything. He has a lot of competitive experience, even though it's not in Warhammer. So looking forward to that.
Right.
Don't challenge him into any kind of fighting, then you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
I think
Reminds me to.
Team USA might have someone for him to play with.
Okay, yeah, let's go Sunday in the evening.
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
can
going to be there. Screw it.
we can set up some pay-per-view, no problem.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, but you guys are mucking about. I mean, apart from the new guy, I recall like all of those names sound familiar. So yeah, yikes. So what about Team USA? Who's coming?
Yeah, so for Team USA, we have Anthony Vanilla leading the squad over, as well as Brian Sipe, who's one of our starters from last year. Those are the only two players who we're sending who have started for WTC before. We also have Tyler Bertel and Ben Urich, who have both been members of Team USA for a couple of years and have competed at War Masters, but neither of them have so far started at WTC for us. Obviously, they're both looking to change that this year. And then after that, we have 4 players who are new to Team USA, and so this will be their first time representing us at an event, which is Kit Smith-Hanna, Nick Fromm, Sam Pope, and then Ruben Zhao. So we've got 4, players who all have been very successful competitive players, but are new to Team USA. And so certainly we believe that they are of the caliber to, go compete for that starting spot. But this is, their opportunity to show how well some very successful singles careers can translate into, WTC style team events.
Awesome.
Okay. And now that you mentioned that, I think Team USA used to be regarded as a couple of singles players mainly, but now there's this whole North American Team League thing. You've got 8v8 events quite a few times over the year, right? So has that in any way helped, get more attention to teams playing and to the national team as a consequence?
Absolutely, yes. We don't really send Team USA itself to the team events here, but
Mm.
it is much better for the awareness of the guys coming into the room. So, everyone who I've mentioned, they've all been to team events. They've all done well at team events. Certainly some of them I have played at team events. So far, I have never been on a team that has put a diff point up against Kit. It's never been me, but every time we play against a team with Kit on it, Kit 20 is one of my friends. So, so we're hoping he can translate that for us, right? Let's weaponize it a little bit. But the last 2 years, there's been a real increase in the teams scene for the US, which has been awesome because it used to be that there was one team event a year that I would go to, and it was the day that lists went live for WTC, so it was really inconveniently timed.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's there's several. I think I've got like 3 in the next 2 months.
There's a big
right.
teams event in September, right? Or is it October in America? The Challengers Cup?
Yep. That's in it was in September last year. I have to
Yeah,
check the dates again this year. It's on my calendar. I'm going. Everything after August is
it's blurry.
after August. The only
Yeah,
date I
yeah.
know between WTC and New Year's is my wedding. And other than that, we'll get there when we get there.
Do you recall how many teams are going to Challengers Cup by any chance? Because I know it was big and it was sold out, and then
Yeah.
more teams got added.
Last year, I want to say it was 40 to 50 8-man teams.
Jesus.
I think no, it was more than that. It was 50 something. If you let me scroll a little bit, I can get you an answer, but I believe it was 50 plus 8-man teams.
Wow. Pretty big. Jesper, do you
Solid.
have I know the Swedish scene isn't that big, but do you guys have team events?
Yeah, absolutely. I played in
I'm
one
surprised they have a team.
this evening. Wow, we did manage to put one together. Yeah, so we do. I mean, for example, I think were you to Nordic Masters last year?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. But that's a closed invitational team. But like we run not that many 8-team events, or well 0 to be honest. But I think we have I mean maybe 4 or 5 each year, like 4 to 5 man team events. So
That's pretty decent.
yeah, it's a definite part of our like tournament culture, and it has been for quite some time. And I think most people are realizing that it's a better way to play 40K. So it's always trending upwards, just as in the rest of the world.
Yeah, I'd say since Mechelen, teams events have been really picking up worldwide. For example, like one of the players that's coming to Pyra, Kit Hanna, I've seen him regularly on the Try Hard Discord, either on Teams format or just single player. Like the teams also draw in the American players as well to the European scene. So I think that's only amazing that it's picking up that big.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. Jesper, you've never answered if Team Sweden have any vendetta with any of the teams,
Any
any of the
vendetta?
other teams attending.
Ooh, not really. I mean, I think Germany won the last Pyra, right? Didn't they?
I'm not sure. I think they won the October one. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. And what was that? I would just like to beat the latest champions. That would be fun. So, and also we won against Germany 2 years in a row now. So, but we'll see. If they're more shelling, then it's going to be fun. So that's who I want to
So
beat.
my vendettas are against the people who have beaten us, and your vendettas are against the people you've already beaten. You just want to, you
Yeah,
just really
Indeed.
want to show them, huh?
just rub
Yeah.
it in their faces.
Yeah.
Absolutely. In that case, we have a vendetta against England.
Yeah.
Easy.
Poor souls. Poor souls.
Yeah. Right. So I think we've also talked a bit about the meta game. So I don't know, Dino, if you got any question, whilst I have a little think if there's anything we can ask. Anything
Yeah,
they're ready?
with all the new players coming from the USA to Pyra, are you guys doing anything in preparation for the long journey? Because I think it's like an 18-hour travel for you guys from the US. Are you guys
Yeah,
coming in early or perhaps?
I'll be truthful. My leadership style involves delegation, and therefore I have no idea when anyone is flying there. But I know that we are tracking that, and we means someone on my team is tracking that.
Yeah.
I think a couple of the guys are trying to go in a little bit early. Now that some of the team has been to Pyra, they're there to tell everyone, hey, this is how terrible it is to fly to Poland, and then drive to a different part of Poland. I think that we'll be going in a little bit more prepared, and
Yeah.
hopefully we will have slightly fewer zombies walking around in USA jerseys.
Yeah.
Don't you have like
How?
a health coach who should have some kind of plan for this?
Yes, I delegate, as I said.
Oh, right.
Someone's gonna keep track of this, but it's not John.
Jesper, how's the travel from Sweden to let's call it Pyrotown?
Sure. I I think we're flying from different parts of Sweden. You know, it's a quite long country. So I take no responsibility in that. But then we're going to hire a couple of cars in the first Poland town that we landed. I'm not sure what it's called because I'm just someone else booked the tickets, and then we take these cars to Poland town too.
Poland time works perfect,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, guys, you're not even trying. Why don't you even want to try? I've actually reminded myself of a question I did want to ask Jesper. So between Pyra and Nordic Masters, are you guys doing any other team events as Team Sweden before the WTC? I mean, I think there's a plethora of events now across Europe.
Yeah, we did
Yes.
consider Alpine Cup for a bit and also ITT. I think we kind of want to focus on WTC terrain mainly, and so we did consider those, but still it's quite hard to like get people aligned. And I think also since we are quite few, so to get the value out of it, we need a lot of like the roster players to be able to show up. And I feel like we're just between these two events, to be honest, and also we're pretty packed with all the online screaming as well. We haven't really been able to find the time, to be honest.
Okay.
Tough with the scheduling.
Are any of you guys going to Home Nations?
No. I think we got invited, but we said no, but thank you. And it's just a matter of scheduling. It wasn't a good fit for us. Sadly, would have loved to go.
Yeah. USA is going, right?
I think I froze for a second, so I hope that question wasn't for me.
I'm asking you now. USA is going to Home Nations, right? And he
He's
froze
frozen.
again.
Yeah,
He
frozen
really
forever.
doesn't want to answer.
And you scared them away. Oh no.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I can answer on behalf of Poland. So we didn't get invited. Clearly, there's already enough Polish immigrants in the UK. They don't want any more.
Am I back?
Yes,
You are back, yes.
Keep moving so we know that you're with us.
And alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blink at least. He was so focused and he's dropped again.
Yeah.
Unlucky.
So Jesper, I want to go back to one thing. You said you had like 4 or 5 team events in Sweden. Are
Yep.
those 5-mans or 8-mans?
It's always 4 or 5 man, mainly 5
Yeah,
man
yeah.
events. So
It's
yeah, I
just hard
think
to get big.
yeah, 8 man for like casual players is gonna be tough, and it also I think it's quite a ladder, you know, to get find 7 other friends to get things. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's a fitting format. Maybe it is for bigger countries.
Yeah. No, even Netherlands, like we're twice the size of Sweden, but even for us, like getting 8-man teams is just really hard to
Yeah.
get that all set up.
Yeah, I have yet to see a good solution for making a pairing process for 4 players work, though. It always become really awkward. But 5 players works
Yeah.
elegantly, so I think that's the a golden number.
I think you have to bring back a champion to make that work.
Yeah.
Anyone remember that from 7th?
I mean, we've been using that system for 4-man team events in Sweden still, so it's not, but it's weird.
Okay.
All right,
So,
Joker, got any questions?
well, I think you wanted to hear from John if they're going to home nations, although I think he did mention that they are. But we can expand that question by asking, is it a totally different team than the people traveling to Pyra? So more academy people being able to show off their skills?
Yes and yes. So we will be going to home nations, which I'm really excited for because I'm actually going to get to go with that. But we are bringing 8 completely different players so that everyone gets a chance to compete and show off a little bit, and we don't want to double up and then deny someone else a chance to try and show off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right, and actually, so for 2 events already, beside the WTC itself, where you need to travel for so long and potentially for quite a bit of money, did you have any problems in like getting people on board the idea of going so far when you've got lots of 8-man events in the USA already?
That's definitely part of the reason why none of our
John is having a hard time.
Refuses.
sorry,
Oh, there it
just
is.
got a phone call. Telemarketers are restless. I'm back. That's part of the reason why none of us are starting for both of the events, so that you don't potentially go to Europe 3 times. A few of our guys are going to be at both, but they're all people for tell. Luckily, they're kind of far enough away from each other that you can usually make both work. And so April and August are far enough that I can do both. You know, go to England once, go to Austria once, but I did not have a trip to Poland in there as well.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Well, I think we'll be wrapping up unless any last thoughts from any of you guys. Anything you want to mention, plug, what have you?
Who do you want to win, Pyra, Joker?
I don't know.
Rooting for someone between Poland A and B?
Yeah, probably. Poland B.
Okay.
Aren't you playing Joker?
Yeah, in Poland B, that's why.
Which town are you representing? Poland town 1 or 2?
Poland town 3.
Oh wow, never heard of that one.
Yeah, exactly. No, actually, it's close to Gdańsk, so you kind of know the area.
Yeah, I love it.
According to what you've mentioned. Yeah, so what I was going to say about it. No, I mean, last year we didn't really have a clear division between A and B. This year we have, so hopefully the A team can really show off. But obviously we as the B team are happy to surprise everyone, if possible. We'll see. Apparently the first Poland town you land in is Munich. So.
Yeah, never heard of that town before.
The only Poland town where we can pronounce the name.
Yeah. Awkward that. Anyway, so thank you to our guests, Jesper and John. Thanks for joining in. It was a pleasure to have you guys. A massive thank you to my co-host for this evening, Dino. Thanks for
You're welcome.
stopping by and welcome on board in the crew.
Thank you.
Make sure that you guys follow along the Contact Us and Pyra Cup media channels. We'll be doing a match predictor kind of little competition for the people that can't attend. And obviously, we will be throwing all sorts of coverage, reels, what have you, during the event next weekend. As I've mentioned before, there's also a show scheduled for Tuesday that will do the pod draw and list analysis. And then on Thursday, we still have the Team Poland to interview. So a lot of content coming up in regards to Pyra before the event itself and during the event. For today, thanks everyone for joining in to listen to us blabber on. And if you like what we do, please hit like, subscribe, the bell button, what have you, and consider becoming a patron. Last but not least, a massive thank you to our sponsors, the Army Painter and Weyland-Yutani. And with all of that, we bid you a goodbye.
Bye bye.